finished watching episode 6 of Promised Neverland season 2, and it is, without exaggeration, the most abominable, putrid pile of dog.
What a failure. An embarrassment. A sham. A wash.
Trash. It was garbage. It was absolutely an abomination and a disrespect and injustice.
The Promised Neverland season 1 went off with a bang. It did something lots of anime failed to do, which is, from literally the first episode, everyone was locked in on the show's mystery surrounding the orphanage and the world. I remember seeing reaction videos week to week about the crazy things that were happening in the plot, and theory videos about the mystery and the demons and everything that was happening in the orphanage. And it kept getting better and better, and after it ended, I think most people deemed it as one of the best first seasons in anime. Some months after the first season ended, I can't lie, I was fiending for more. I took the bait and I went for the manga. And let me just say I loved it. Well, except for the ending, but for the most part, it was good. I was excited to see what people would think about the following arcs, especially one of my favorite arcs, which is Goldie Pond. But I think we all know what happened. Season 2 actually started off pretty well. It started after Emma and co escaped from the orphanage into the forest while running away from the demons, and they ran into two new characters, Sonju and Mujika. So far, pretty faithful to the anime. And the next episode is mostly them hanging out with these new characters, and there are lots of lore drops and exposition about the state of the world. And it's done pretty well, and once again, faithful to the manga. At this point, I don't think anyone was complaining about the season because the animation was good and the direction was good. So, how did it all go so wrong? Well, let's get to episode 3. In my opinion, from the beginning, the episode starts off really bad. Emma and them are separating from these two new characters to look for Minerva, which is their goal. And in the manga, before they leave, there is a pretty important lore drop that the anime cut out completely, which was the cheap mass production farms. I was looking forward to this lore drop because to me, it's extremely important because it directly mirrors the demons to us in the real world, as well as sets an even darker tone for the show. But the anime completely skips this conversation and they move on. But it gets worse. I think we all know where I'm going. The bunker. For those who are watching who don't know, in the anime, when the kids get to the bunker, it's completely empty. But in the manga, there was supposed to be a whole ass important character who was waiting for them and was supposed to welcome them into the bunker. This wasn't a one-off side character, but an important one with a character arc and everything. And he had connections to characters in other arcs, and he was a pretty good foil for Emma and them in the beginning of this arc. Imagine in the beginning of One Piece, after Luffy and Kobe fight against Alvida and her pirate crew, and Luffy sneaks into the compound where Zoro was tied, and Zoro just isn't there. That's basically what happened here. This character not being there showed that this show was going in a completely different direction from the manga, and from then on, I completely checked out. And I don't know why I subjected myself to pain, but I continued watching the show. And it actually gets worse. You see, over the next 3 episodes, they completely skipped 2 huge arcs, one of which was my favorite, Goldie Pond, completely skipped multiple characters, foreshadowing, and cut out so many villains and fights, And at this point, the anime is a completely different canon from the manga, completely different timeline. They do things differently. The way Norman is reintroduced in the show is done completely different. And they condense the last arcs of the manga into like 4 episodes. So at this point, I don't even know why I'm watching, but I just wanted to see where they would take this and why they would do this. And they did something even worse than everything I just previously said. So at the end of the show, they have one main goal, which is to change the promise made between the demons and the humans. And guess how they show them changing this promise? In a fucking PowerPoint slideshow. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. They show their journey in a PowerPoint slideshow, no animation or nothing. And they just cut to the end and it's just them being happy in the human world. At that point, I wanted to just punch my screen, bro. I kept asking myself, which artist or mangaka would allow such a beloved series to fall so low? I searched the internet looking for answers, and I found one. Although a really unsatisfying one, which is nobody knows. There have been no official statements from anyone, and it's just a bunch of rumors floating around on why this would happen. Me personally, I think it's pretty disrespectful to ruin something for the fans and just say nothing about it, but that's what they did. Although, when you check the credits for the last 2 episodes, it seems the director and the mangaka removed their names from it because seemingly did not want to take credit for this atrocity. So I can be pretty sure that these people were kind of forced to make this by some soulless executives up the building. Maybe to boost manga sales, or to get people to read the manga more, or some people say they did this because the manga was done at that point and it was no use making an anime. At this point, it's just speculations, but there's nothing concrete. And all I can say is read the manga if you haven't, and let's just protest a damn remake.